Hello and welcome to the Alpha Edge Podcast, the show for men over 50 who refuse to fade out, slow down, play small, or settle for average. I'm your host, Kevin English. I'm a healthy aging expert, coach, and founder of the Alpha Edge, and I am here to help you get and stay strong in every dimension of your life, physically, mentally, emotionally, morally, and spiritually. You're here because you're ready to reclaim your power, to own your masculinity, and lead your life with strength and purpose. If you're ready to sharpen your edge, revive your drive, and lead like a man who's built for more, you're in the right place. All right, men, let's get after it. Coach Russell, welcome back to the Alpha Edge Podcast.
Thank you for having me, Kevin.
Yes, sir, brother. How's it going?
It's good.
Doing good? You
No
living
complaints.
the dream over there?
Trying to. Getting this. The sun keeps on wanting to peek out, but goes away every other day.
All right, yeah. So
I'm a big sun person, so.
Yeah. So you're in NorCal, right? Is that fair?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm over here on the East Coast, coastal North Carolina. So we are on opposite sides of the U.S., but kind of same thing over here, right? A little bit cloudy, a little bit sunny, but it is. We're getting ready for full-on summertime over here, and I'm digging that. All right. Well, speaking of summer, lots of dudes listening are going to be at pools. They're going to be at beaches. They're going to have opportunities to take off the shirt. And as men, we want to be strong men. And what I want to talk about today is I want to talk about gyms. Let's just have a discussion. We'll just call this the ultimate gym guide for men over 50. So why don't we start here, Russell? What was your first experience with a gym? When's the first time you ever lifted weights? You remember?
I think it was, it was when probably high school, just went with a bunch of friends. A friend of mine was like a janitor at a gym. So he, snuck us
Had some
all
access,
in.
yeah.
Yeah, we had no idea what we were doing. I don't even remember lifting. If we lifted weights, it was probably really sad. And obviously no plan, no rhyme, no reason.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get into it. And it wasn't until the military that I started really lifting weights. But even then, still a lot of no planning. just walking around aimlessly and, I'll do that and I'll do that.
Were you lifting weights because you wanted to, or was that a part of the physical fitness protocol, or what was the weightlifting in the military piece, or a little of both?
So in the military is a lot due to boredom.
Boredom, yeah.
You're on a base, so it's
not a whole lot going on.
A whole lot.
Yeah,
you didn't get paid a whole lot, so it wasn't like you could just be out and about all the time. So yeah, it was just once in a while you just go to the gym, play basketball, go lift weights and things of that nature. I really, really got into it more towards, I guess when I was in the police department, and then I started noticing, my 20-year-old body wasn't, I was 30 then, but I couldn't fall back on eating like crap and doing little to nothing and still having a good body.
Yeah.
So when the body started taking a turn for the south. Yeah. So that was it. That was my first experience, just a bunch of guys goofing off in the gym, and that's literally what it was, goofing. Probably annoying everybody in that gym.
Yeah, as old guys that go to gyms
kids.
now. Yeah, those pesky kids. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a completely different story. So in high school, I was in the stoner crowd. We didn't lift weights. That's not where I was getting my validation. I didn't touch a weight until I was in my 50s. I was seriously trying to think, had I ever lifted a dumbbell or a barbell before age 50? And I don't think I did. If I did, it was just like a one-off and so not memorable that it's gone from my memory. Now, I think I mentioned on past episodes, I was, in my 30s, I started running. I got addicted to marathons, and then that led to a bad addiction with triathlon. So I went down that endurance route, but that just made me skinny. It didn't make me strong, right? If you've ever just Google elite marathoner, they're not jacked. They're not particularly aesthetically pleasing to the eye. They're skinny, frail, little whippet-like bodies. And that was me. And I wasn't particularly great. I was a mid-packer, or I don't know, I probably did better than mid-packer, but I wasn't, it's not like I was winning these things or anything like that. And then a period in my 40s where I just did absolutely nothing. just, well, I kept eating and drinking, and by drinking, I mean alcohol, in my 40s. And I ate because I get away with eating and drinking whatever I wanted, because every morning I was out running for 10 miles, or on the weekend I was running for 20 miles and then went for a 60-mile bike ride, or just stupid shit like that. And so I got away with whatever I wanted to eat. Again, didn't look particularly great, but I wasn't fat. And then in my 40s, I completely cold turkey stopped all the endurance stuff, but I kept eating and drinking, and you can imagine what happened. I just kind of blew up. I got really unhealthy, very sick. And I told the story on one of the past podcasts here about, I heard a podcast with Dr. Jonathan Sullivan. He was a co-author of a book called The Barbell Prescription. That's a must read, by the way, for all men over 50. But it was that podcast that made me, because I was trying to get healthy again. So I had already been on this road to trying to get back in shape, but the only thing I knew was running. So I was just running all the damn time. But this time, as opposed to just eating and drinking whatever I wanted, I was trying to eat less. So I was trying to eat salads and shit like that, and just running and running and running. And I just wasn't getting jacked, man. I wasn't losing. I mean, I probably lost some fat, but I was ridiculously under-muscled. At any rate, that led me to this whole, barbells, lifting weights, huh? And as a pretty scrawny dude, and at the time, I had a beer belly, had man boobs, ridiculously weak. So the first time I wandered into a gym, I was all alone, just by myself. I was embarrassed. I felt very insecure. There were all these big, hulking, and this was a Globo gym. It was a Gold's Gym here in North Carolina. There's these big, giant dudes in the back, and they're grunting. Ugh! And I was just shrinking back in terror at this, right? There's these hot ladies in leotards lifting way more weights than I was going to lift, so I wasn't going anywhere near them. But so I just looked what other kind of weak, skinny, out of shape people were doing on the machines, and I just would go around behind them and started doing that. So that's my first initiation to a gym. It was very intimidating. I didn't know what I was doing. I certainly didn't have a plan, and it took a while, right? I mean, I started in there, and once I actually hired a trainer, had a bit of a plan. Now, look, my first couple of trainers were jokes. They just were, they would take me around, have me doing all this goofy shit, and they'd count my reps, and I didn't do the same thing twice. I mean, it was a bit of a joke, but I finally got a trainer who was like, hey, here's your plan. This is what you're going to do on the days that you don't meet with me. And we're going to do the exact same thing every single time. You know, we're always going to squat and hinge and push and pull. I was like, oh, okay. That changed everything. All of a sudden, some little baby muscles started popping up. The man tits started to shrink a little bit. The belly shrank a little bit. That same coach was like, hey, you got to eat, like, you know, you got to eat some damn food. You got to eat some proteins. Oh, okay, right. So I can eat. That wasn't a problem. So I started doing the exact opposite of what I was doing before, which is running and trying to eat less. I started to eat more, prioritize protein, started lifting weights. Russell, you as a coach, you know exactly what that does to a man. I started to look and feel better. All of a sudden, my libido started coming back. I had more energy. I had more confidence. I started showing up differently because I had this, I was doing hard shit in the gym every morning, and that carried over to other areas of my life. So the gym was, quite literally a life-saving place for me. It holds a very near and dear place in my heart. I love all gyms. I love the little studio gyms. I love the powerlifting gyms. I love the big, giant, fancy Globo gyms. I love them all. I love the home gyms, little cave gyms. I am in love with gyms. I think they're transformative. And I think it's also an opportunity, like you said, Russell, your first experience with the gym was in a community. Hey, me and some of the boys, we just were fooling around. And then me and some of the guys, in the military, it's something to do together. And while that wasn't my experience when I started, it is now. I do the gym with other dudes, with other people, and that's amazing. So I want to kind of segue here and talk a little bit about gym intimidation, because as a man, we should be going to a gym, right? And we'll talk about home gym versus public gym and what the different types of gyms here in a second. But we should be working out, and we need a place to work out. So, Russell, what do you say to a dude that is like, oh, yeah, Kev, I feel you. I'm out of shape. I'm 50, 60, 70. Do I really... I'm uncomfortable walking to a gym where there's a bunch of 20-year-old kids with, their muscles have muscles. How do we talk to a dude to overcome gym intimidation, just get his ass in the gym and start moving some weights around?
The first thing I always say is, right, you got to pick the environment that works for you.
Sure.
And having it close is a big one, especially if you don't enjoy it or it's not something you look forward to. Having a gym an hour and a half away is not going to help you
Nope.
out.
That's right.
And when you get in there, obviously connecting with the right people. Going in on your own is probably, I don't want to say a mistake, but it won't help you progress and see changes.
Grab a buddy.
You and I both know,
100%,
right?
yep.
You and I both know. So obviously my first thing is probably to get a trainer, especially if you're brand new.
Yep.
Even an online trainer or an in-person trainer, and somebody that you trust and knows what they're doing. If they're changing workouts every 2 seconds, it's not a good trainer. If they're,
Right.
making you do something that's beyond your
shit.
reach,
Yeah.
it's not a good trainer. Yeah, you're not gonna be happy with it. And I think most importantly, I've never been in a gym where there was just a complete group of, excuse my language, but assholes. Everyone wants to see somebody doing good in there.
Yeah.
Even the people that are severely overweight get applauded and helped, because we're like, awesome. You're trying to make a big change in your life.
You're trying.
And
Yeah. You're here.
We all respect that.
Yeah.
Even though, even the guys you think are ripped to shreds, they're still trying to make a change in their lives.
Right
Right.
on. Yeah.
They're, may not be as severe as yours, but they're still trying to make a change. So they respect that. And I think that's where we get confused, right?
Right.
Where we think that's intimidation. Oh, I don't
Yes.
look like that. And maybe I can someday, So I think just knowing that you're going to an environment that welcomes change, that wants you to change, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's the big one, right? If I go to a shooting range, right, there's always some expert there, and not a lot of them are very helpful because it's a different atmosphere. Whereas I find I go to a gym and I'm like, man, I don't know how to use this machine. I'll have 3 or 4 people trying to help me out.
Yeah.
So I've always gotten that experience no matter where I've been. What do you think?
100%. I'm with you. So as a newbie in the gym, this is what I discovered, that those big, mean face giant dudes in the back with stringer t-shirts and carrying around the gallon jug of water are the most awesome people in the world. They seem intimidating because they're doing hard work. They're getting shit done. They're doing it with intensity. But look at it this way. That dude is really, really passionate about getting strong, whether he's a strong man and he's working on strength, or whether he's a physique dude and he's, more in the bodybuilding world. If you as a newbie go up, and now I don't mean in the middle of a set, right? That would be a mistake. But if you go, hey man, ask any question at all as a newbie, and all of a sudden you got a new best friend. That dude, that big, tatted up, scary dude is your new best friend because he's going to take you under the wing. He's excited to share his experience. He's excited to share his passion with somebody who's new on that. I'm the same way in the gym these days. When somebody is asking me something or seems lost or confused, and I'm excited. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Let me get you into this gym culture, right? So that's actually one of my tips for overcoming gym intimidation. You're in the gym and you're not sure how something works, as opposed to going and finding some little old lady who seems unintimidating, probably just as lost as you. Go find the biggest, scariest looking dude in there and say, hey man, I'm new to all this and trying to figure this out. Can you help me? I promise you. I mean, yeah, maybe 1 out of 100 dudes are assholes. I've never experienced that personally. I can almost guarantee that guy's going to be delighted to help you out. It's going to excite him. It's going to light him up. And then guess what? Next time you go in there, you're going to fist bump. You're going to nod. You're going to give the bro nod when you go in there. You might get to know him, talk a little bit. And so, yeah, I think that there is certainly a community in gyms. And I found that to be in all kinds of gyms. And now look, right now I'm actually really lean down. I'm 6'2" and I'm just under 190 pounds. So super, super lean. But I have actually spent time in powerlifting gyms. And if you're not sure what a powerlifting gym is, that's where really big dudes and dudettes, by the way, go, and all they do is work on their getting stronger in the deadlift, the squat, and the bench. There's not a whole lot of other machines in there. I mean, they do a couple other things, but really all they do is work on powerlifting. And I joined one of those for a little while. I was trying to get stronger specifically in those 3 lifts, and I did. In my 50s, I PR'd all of those. Of course, I hadn't set the bar very high, but here was my experience there. I was I was the skinny dude there. I was the scrawny guy there. Those big giant dudes loved me when I was on the bench press and I was trying to hit 225. Look, for a power lifter, 225 is a warm-up weight. For me, it was a lifetime goal. I was like, hell yeah. These dudes, they were there all the time. They wanted to know where I was. They wanted to know what I was working on. They were all the time, okay, I want you to bring and they'd move my grip like half an inch out. All right, now as you come down, I want you to hit just below the nipples, not the nipples, right below, but when you press back, all these little cues. Make sure, let's keep that arch in the back. Let's get that foot drive, Kevin. They were cheering for me. And I was trying to hit something that was basically a joke to most of these dudes, right? 225. That's a lot of weight, but it's not a lot of weight relative to a very strong man. And these were all younger dudes. Actually, I take that back. There were some old, strong dudes in that gym. But my point is, it was a very welcoming environment. And it could seem really intimidating, I suppose, for a skinny dude to walk in and be around a bunch of not skinny dudes, a bunch of really big, if you've ever seen power lifters, most of them aren't, 32-inch waists with the great big shoulders. These are big bear-like men. These are big, strong dudes that are deadlifting stupid amounts of weight and all that. But I tell you that story just because it goes to show that people are passionate. Gym goers, these hardcore gym goers are passionate about going to the gym, about getting strong, about building a physique. And if you, as a newbie, ask them for help, they're going to be delighted to help you out there. So, Russell, you brought up a couple other points there that I just wanted to hit upon again. Yes, you should find a gym that's convenient to you. If the gym of your dream is 30 minutes away, but you got to pass 3 or 4 other gyms that are 5 minutes away to get there, you're probably going to love going to that gym 30 minutes away for the first month, a couple weeks, whatever. And then that's going to get old, right? So find a gym that suits your personality, has the equipment that you need, is in close proximity to you. That would be just kind of the table stakes, but look around, shop. There's nothing wrong with shopping a gym. Most of them have day passes or even free passes for you to check them out. I want to talk a little bit, Russell, about the, I guess, pros and cons of a home gym or a commercial gym. And I'll kind of start here. I think that a commercial gym, one of the pros of a commercial gym is, you have, if you go to I go to a Globo gym currently, and they have all of the equipment. Equipment I've never even used, but they have it, and it's cool, and I could if I wanted to. I'd like that. I think that's really cool. And there's people there. Now, look, I've had really amazing home gyms, and I've belonged to a whole bunch of different gyms, sometimes more than one gym at a time. And I'm a fan of going to a gym. So I think that you have community and you have access to whatever you want, right? If I want to do, any kind of machine, it's there, it's in the gym. Russell, what do you have for pros, cons when it comes to either a home gym or a commercial gym?
I've had both. So commercial, like you said, there's just access to everything, especially the bigger gym you go to. Then again, there's also not as much access to everything, right?
You might have to wait.
If it's busy, and you're waiting a while. So
don't have to wait in your home gym, do you?
No, home gym, you just go.
Yeah.
The only thing with the home gym, you got to be dedicated. It's got to be so I had a rule in the house. I would go to my garage gym for a half hour, 45 minutes. And I would tell my kids, hey, I'm going to the gym. I know I'm right here, but I'm not here.
Right.
So unless there's a fire or an emergency, don't bother me.
Yeah.
In a nice way, just give dad a half hour, 45 minutes, and dad will be there for you the rest of the day. So that is probably the biggest obstacle with the home gym, right? You're just going to get distracted a lot. But then again, if you only got 20 minutes, right?
Gym's
Man,
perfect.
I could get a 20-minute workout.
Yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to driving 10 minutes to the gym, 10 minutes home. There goes my 20 minutes. So
yeah.
It's just dependent on what, you got to really think to yourself, do I have time to take, even my gym right now is probably 5-10 minutes away. If I have a 45-minute workout, that's an hour and change. If I just really time it really well, do I have that to commit, to be consistent? And if I don't, maybe a home gym is better for me,
Yeah.
So you just got to think of things like that. There's benefits to everything. Like you said, home gym, I probably can't lift as heavy. Not that I lift tremendously heavy at the commercial gym, but I would have somebody spot me.
Yeah.
things of that. Well, actually, I have safety bars here, so I could actually go pretty heavy.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I would think the major concern would be time and
Convenience.
schedule.
Yeah.
Your schedule. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because honestly, that's the only thing that matters is consistency, right? Like you and I could have the best workout in the world, but if we only do it 60% of the time, it's a bad workout.
Right on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, 100% with you.
Those are big differences.
Yeah, like I said, I've had both. I've had a really decked out home gym, and I've belonged to a whole bunch of different gyms, and there's pros and cons to both. But whatever fits. I mean, like you said, Russell, the big thing is whatever you're going to be consistent with, whatever you're going to do and do consistently. That's probably what's best for you. I love, and let's talk a little bit about building out a home gym. I love the idea of starting maybe with some adjustable dumbbells and an adjustable bench. So kind of a limited budget. So that would be your first phase, right? So if you had a set of dumbbells that went from maybe 5 pounds to 50 pounds, or better yet, maybe 5 pounds to 100 pounds, because you're probably going to outgrow 50 pounds pretty quickly.
I would say, yeah, that's my number one thing. I see a lot of people buying the 50-pound ones, and I'm like, oh, you're spending so much money on that. You might as well just add the extra couple hundred to go to 100 pounds.
Because you're going to want it.
And you're going to want it.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to want it. Yeah. That's how I started mine, was adjustable dumbbells that went up to, I think mine go up to 90. And then a adjustable bench. That's all I had for the longest time.
Yeah, and be careful with benches, because I know you can go and look at weightlifting benches. You want an adjustable bench, so that's where the back comes up and down in different angles. But be careful. I've seen some of those that the weight rating is 250 pounds. Well, if you're a 200-pound dude and you got 100 pounds of weight in your hands, guess what? You're now over the weight rating. So just you want a good quality adjustable bench. So that's your table stakes. In addition, I love a set of bands. I think every man should have a set of bands. I like the long, they're called super bands. You can just find them on Amazon, but I think that's a really good investment. And that's like $30-$40. So that's pretty dirt cheap, but that's kind of your table stakes. From there, if you're serious about your home gym, building it out, now we're ready to throw in a rack. So there's tons of different rack options. This is where we'd be doing our bench presses. We'd be doing our squats. We're probably going to load our heavy barbell while it's on the rack. There are 2-post racks. There are racks that fold into the wall. There are big 4-post racks that you actually walk into. Like Russell was saying, there are racks with safety bars. So for example, if I'm doing a heavy bench press, I've got, I'm not going to get squished if I fail a rep. I got a way of bailing safely on that. But I think a rack is a rack and then a barbell and some plates. That's your next considerable investment. But if you've got a garage or a space for it, that is well worth the money. If you're serious about a home gym, you're serious about building strength, as a dude over 50, you should be, and you're committed to a home gym, then that's something you want to invest in. And look, if you look at it this way, maybe you finance that equipment. Think of that as paying a gym payment, right? I mean, I pay a gym membership every single month, but I don't own anything other than the ability to go there whenever I want. I could take that same money and be making, for example, payments on, a nice quality rack, barbell, and some plates for that. So that's what I would recommend. Of course, when you get your rack, you're almost certainly going to have a pull-up bar. The other thing I really, really like, if you're going to have a nice decked out home gym, is the dip station. You can usually buy that as an add-on, but that's something the dude should be good at and strong in, is pull-ups and dips. Those are two pretty fundamental things. So what else, Russell? What am I missing in terms of a well decked out?
I bought a TRX suspension trainer. I bought that many years ago.
Yeah.
And I bring that on vacation.
Yeah.
So I'll throw that in a bag.
It's a great idea. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if you go to Hawaii, there is no better workout than bringing a TRX with you. You go on a little hike, you throw it over a palm tree, and do a workout right there by the ocean.
Yeah, man.
Better than any $100 gym membership you'll ever get.
Perfect.
What else? And then, you know what I used to do too? Just go on Facebook Marketplace or yard sales. So what I would do is just...
Great idea.
Obviously, Facebook Marketplace, look at gym equipment that they have. A lot of people half the time give it away.
You come move it, you can have it.
Yeah. Yeah, all my Olympic plates are totally different. Like,
Right.
one's one brand, another's another brand. I don't care. It's 45 pounds. It's 25
Sure.
pounds. I'm good. So, I've gotten like a trap bar, if anyone knows what that is. Those go for, pretty penny. But a guy just had it outside his yard. He's cleaning his garage and he's like, "You want this thing?" I'm like, "Yeah." How
yeah.
much? He's like, "Just take it. Just take it."
Get it out of my garage. Yeah.
Yard sales, you could just drive by real quick. You could see gym equipment. They usually separate it. So sometimes it's just, a matter of a few months before you build up some stuff.
Yeah.
But I would definitely invest in the things I would really invest in is the adjustable dumbbells, right? Those are, you want those to be solid. You don't want those to be, and in fact, the ones I like, I never see for sale, which is a good sign, right?
Yeah.
I never see them for sale, like on a
high quality
Facebook Marketplace.
Right.
And then the other thing is that squat rack, right? You want that to be a solid construction.
Yes, you do.
But other than that, and like you said, the bench. Those are the three things where I would go all out with money as far as. But the rest, you could pick and pull from anything almost,
Yeah.
I was trying to think what else. TRX, you already brought up the bands. I mean, God, with all that stuff right there, you can make a killer workout.
You sure could.
And you don't need it. You don't need any
Right.
machines or anything.
Right.
In fact,
Yeah. Good point.
I'm pretty. I think you are too. Pretty anti-machine.
Yeah, I'll play around with them every once in a while, and sometimes I'll program. Like right now, my program. Do you know what belt squats are? It's a machine where you put a belt around your low. Yeah, you get super deep in your squat there. I've been playing with that, but for the most part, I'm a barbell back squat guy. I'm a deadlift guy. I'm a pull up and dip guy. I'm a bench press overhead press guy. I'm a bent over row guy. So just the standards, the staples. But I'll hop on machines from time to time. I love a good cable row. I love a good tricep push down. Some of that stuff. There's a high row machine that's got a unique pulling angle on it that I'll hop on that every once in a while. But for the most part, I'm just all the stuff that you would normally have in a home gym anyway. It's a barbell and dumbbells for 90% of it.
Yeah, I worked out in a home gym for about 3 years straight and didn't have any machines.
Yeah.
So
don't need them.
and didn't lose any. I didn't lose anything.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think all great ideas.
Alrighty, folks. So that's what we got for you here. This, if you're not currently working out, you should be get in a gym. Either build a gym or find a gym and plug into a good, solid, age-appropriate, professionally designed, functional workout program. If you don't have one of those, hit us up. We've got some fantastic ones. In fact, I will put a link to a workout program that we sell here. I'll throw that down into the show notes. You guys can find that there. But go get in the gym, go get strong, and remember, as my hero Mark Ripito says, strong people are harder to kill. So that's what I'll leave you with this week, men. Go out and be harder to kill. Okay, men, that's our show for this week. Don't forget to download our free guide titled How to Raise Your Testosterone Naturally. You can find the download link in the show notes for this episode on whatever app you're listening to this podcast on. If you've enjoyed today's show, here are 3 ways you can support us. Number 1, share this episode with a friend. Number 2, make sure to like and follow this show, and please consider leaving us a 5-star review. Number 3, give us a follow over at Instagram. We're at Alpha Edge Army. So that's Alpha Edge Army all run together. I really appreciate you men taking the time to listen, and until next week, stay strong.